In this installment, we're going to be going over the NFL bets for the divisional round. Let's get into it. The channel, it's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to bring you the winning ingredients for our NFL bets for the divisional round here in the NFL playoffs. But before we deep dive into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsThatShetsD. Don't forget about that Patreon. All right, I skipped the TikTok because TikTok's about to end. All right, no more TikTok. All right, so it wasn't even doing anything anyway, so that's fine. We're moving on away from TikTok and on to the homepage of the YouTube channel. Currently at 8.95 thousand subscribers. This is the road to 10K, and we're well on our way because you guys are showing up each and every single day. If you're already subscribed, continue to like and comment. That helps the YouTube algorithm so we can grow to a much broader audience. All right, now speaking of that Patreon, if you signed up for that Patreon, so far we're having a pretty good night here, and that's because I gave out a big underdog here in the Minnesota Timberwolves. As you can see, one of the clients cashed in on that ticket. He cashed in for over $753 on that one. Had the Timberwolves at +5. I also gave out Timberwolves on the money line. I like that as an upset. I messaged everyone really early about that particular spot there, and that was a really good one to take advantage of. I gave it in the video as well. So if you want winning plays, you sign up right now. Click that link provided down below in the description. You're getting access to daily bets, future bets, and access to that group chat that goes off 24/7. I'm so excited to announce I have partnered with BetStamp and Sign Up Expert to provide you guys with an easier way to sign up with any sportsbook in your area. If you go to the link in the description down below, you will be directed to this page you see here. It automatically displays all available sportsbooks in your area plus their current promotions. For example, you could take the plays given in this video and apply it to any other sportsbooks you don't currently have and reap the rewards. Now let's get into the slate. In Gayher Field at Arrowhead Stadium, we have the Kansas City Chiefs 15-2, Houston, Texas 10-7. Looking at the current odds for this game here, we have the Chiefs as solidified home favorites -500 with the comeback of the Texans at a +375. Point spread set at 8.5, and total points set at 41.5. Public bet percentage here, 88% of the bets, 94% of the money on the Kansas City Chiefs. For the point spread, it's a little bit tighter here, 55% of the bets, 51% of the money on the side of the Chiefs to cover the 8.5. Public and sharps are going with the trends that Kansas City can't cover spreads, and that's why you see 45% of the bets, 49% of the money on that one. Total points, 75% of the bets towards the over, but we have 57% of the money on the under 41.5 in this total. Looking at the injury report here for these two teams, the only one out for the Kansas City Chiefs will be Mecole Hardman. He's been relegated to fifth string wide receiver now, since there's a ton of help here for the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. He has a ton of weapons now at his disposal now that everyone is fully healthy, all right? So everyone else is pretty much fine here for the Chiefs. Texans dealing with a couple Q tags. Azeez Al-Shaair is questionable. Robert Woods had 3 straight DNPs. He's highly questionable. He might not play in this game with 3 straight DNPs. And then Joe Mixon had a DNP on Thursday. He's highly questionable. See if he can give it a go on Saturday. All right, so definitely wait on news about Joe Mixon. That's the biggest one that we've seen here on this injury report. All right, we're keeping this really short and sweet here between the Chiefs and the Texans. They did play earlier this season. That was the game Mahomes injured his ankle the previous week. He was able to play in this game, and they comfortably beat the Texans in Kansas City 27-19 in that one. They were able to get 2 interceptions on CJ Stroud, and they definitely limited Joe Mixon in that game. Tank Dell also got injured in that game as well, and they will not have Tank Dell in this game here. All right, so it's a lot to ask for here, and we're going to go straight to the stats here. The Kansas City Chiefs on extended rest in Mahomes' entire career are 37-8. 37-8 straight up with extended rest. As you know, the Chiefs coasted week 18, didn't play the first week of wild card, so they had plenty of time to prepare for the Texans here. So 37-8 straight up, 24-20 against the spread. All right. Now, this team here in the Texans, this is a dome team coming over here to Kansas City, and the temperature here are well below 30 degrees. So you got a dome team here in Houston, Texas coming over to Kansas City, and this is a big factor here, all right? Teams in the last 20 years that come from a dome and go over to a sub 30 degree environment here in the playoffs are 2-7. All right, 2-7 straight up, and they're losing by an average of over 10 points a game. All right, so we got the extended rest narrative, and we have the fact that this is a dome team coming over to this environment here in Kansas City, and it does not bode well for them. This is the two-time champion here in the Kansas City Chiefs. I get what the Texans did in the previous game. Those were two frauds playing each other, and I told you that in that previous game. All right, Chargers were frauds, Texans were frauds. And it was the value was on the Texans. Clearly, the Texans defense was finally healthy, and that's what happened in that game. They showed up against the Chargers. All right, this is a different animal here and a different beast when we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. This is going to be a complete sweep. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs on the money line, Kansas City Chiefs to cover the 8.5, and give me the under on the 41.5. I think this Texans offense continues to struggle like they did all year long, and this total goes under the 41.5. In Ford Field here, we have the Detroit Lions going against the Washington Commanders here for the current odds for this matchup. 1 seed going up against the 6 seed. Washington coming off a phenomenal win there against the Buccaneers. This is a team in Washington that continues to have the late game success, fourth quarter success, last drive success with Jaden Daniels here. They keep coming out and squeaking by with these big wins here. But this is a tall task here going up against the Lions. The odds right here, minus 550 on the money line with the comeback of the Commanders at a plus 400. Point spread at a 9.5. Total points at 55.5. Full game public bet percentage here, 90% of the bets, 96% of the money all over the Lions. For the point spread, public and sharps are on the side of Washington. 53% of the bets, 51% of the money on Washington to cover the spread. All right. For the total, 52% of the bets on the side of the over, but we have 55% of the money. The sharps are on the under on the total in this game here. All right, looking at the injury report for these two teams, Detroit Lions are going to be without D lineman Pat O'Connor and Kevin Zeitler there, their guard, with a hamstring injury. So that is a loss there on their offensive line. Anis Rakestraw, cornerback, is questionable. He did get a limited practice in on Thursday, so that is a positive sign here. And then we're waiting on news. No, Taylor Decker should be fine. It was personal why he missed Wednesday. He came back Thursday and got a full practice, all right? Washington Commanders, we're waiting on Jordan McGee, linebacker, Bobby Wagner, linebacker as well. They could be without two major linebackers here with two DNPs on Wednesday and Thursday. It doesn't say rest. It doesn't say anything like that. These could be serious injuries here, and they could miss the game, all right? Everyone else here for the Washington Commanders are going to be healthy for this spot going up against the Lions. And like I said, it's a tall task. They need everyone fully equipped, especially on that defensive side, because the bread and butter of the Lions is the run game. All right, big news here is that Knuckles has come back. All right, they have their number 2 running back here in the fold for the Detroit Lions. They have their two-headed monster. All right, Montgomery, Gibbs. It's a deadly combination, and they can pound you with power and speed in a multitude of ways here. They work with the inside, and then they kill you with the outside guys, with Amon-Ra St. Brown, with Jameson Williams, and their tight end. So you get really, really ugly here. And the factor and the reason why I can't pick the Commanders here, this is the 30th ranked defense rushing. All right, they can't stop the running back. And this is what we saw in that stretch run in the past couple weeks. 27th overall, 28th in the red zone. They're giving up 112 yards per game and 4.6 yards a carry. If we go for the total for the entire season, this team here, rushing yards against per game, is 30th almost near dead last against one of the strongest run teams in the league. This is playoff football here, and we know how Dan Campbell plays. He's going to be relentless with the run game. If he exploits one issue, he's going to do it over and over and over again, and that's where the Lions have their major asset here, and it's just too much to handle. I think that this Lions team is going to run all over the Washington Commanders. They're going to have a very tough spot here stopping them. They had a very tough time stopping Bucky Irving, if you remember. I don't know why they went away from the run game there in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they had the game. They had the game. They got too cute and did an end around with Baker Mayfield messing up the exchange, and they gave the opportunity to Commanders. I don't see that happening in there. Public is on the side of the Commanders to cover the spread. I don't think that the Commanders can cover the spread because they can't stop the run, number one. Number two, the Detroit Lions play top 5 in the league with man coverage and blitz percentage, all right? So they're man-on-man, one-on-one on guys outside, and they're bringing the pressure. Now, it is a bonus that Jaden Daniels is top 3 in the league with rushing against blitzes, all right? So that pressure is coming. He does have the capabilities to escape and has some opportunities to get some rushing yards. That's going to be a positive. Maybe he could extend some plays here, but I think it's going to be too much to handle here, and I'm going to be on a clean sweep of the Lions, all right? So we're going to go Lions on the money line. Lions to cover the spread at 9.5, and we're taking the total under 55.5. This is playoff football here. A lot of people are expecting this to be a back and forth. I think the Lions can contain the Commanders' offense here, slow down Jaden Daniels. It was a phenomenal game against the Buccaneers, but this is a whole different animal here in the Detroit Lions, literally. And we're going to take the under on the 55.5. In Lincoln Financial Field here, we have the Philadelphia Eagles 14-3 going up against the LA Rams 10-7 here. Looking at the current odds for this one, we have the Eagles as solidified home favorites here, -275 on the money line, with the comeback of the Rams at a +225. Point spread at a 6. Total points at 43.5. All right. Public bet percentage here, 74% of the bets, 67% of the money on Philadelphia. For the point spread, 63% of the bets, 67% of the money on the Rams to cover the 6. And for the total points, 71% of the bets, 65% of the money on the over 43.5. So very low total in this particular game here. Looking at the injury report here for these two teams, we have for the Rams, Larrell Murchison, DN, is going to be out here with a foot injury, and Troy Reeder, inside linebacker, is going to be out as well. We have some Q tags on Bobby Brown, nose tackle, and Alaric Jackson, old lineman here, and Witherspoon, their cornerback, is going to be questionable as well. Bobby Brown and Jackson had pretty much 2 to 3 DNPs here, and that means they're highly questionable in this game here. Another O-lineman in Justin Dedich is going to be highly questionable. He had a DNP on Friday with an illness. All right, so 2 major injuries on that O-line and some question marks on that D line as well for the Rams. For the Philadelphia Eagles, we have a clean slate here. Besides Byron Young, D-tackle, he's going to be out of this game despite the fact he practiced, okay? So that's the only injuries there for the Philadelphia Eagles. These two teams come in here. They have already played earlier this season, week 11, and that was a blowout win by the Philadelphia Eagles, 37-20, all right? So the total right here is 43.5. Remember, this is a playoff game here in Philadelphia. How this Philadelphia defense has been playing has been absolutely outstanding. The secondary is phenomenal, and this D-line is finally stepping up, getting pressure with all the talent that they have acquired, all right? But in this game here, this was the Saquon Barkley game, all right? And if you cannot stop the run, then you cannot beat the Philadelphia Eagles. That's just point blank, period, because they're just going to control the ball and win. All right, Saquon Barkley had 26 carries, 255 yards, and 2 touchdowns as well. Kenneth Gainwell got in on the action with a touchdown. Jalen Hurts got in with 39 yards rushing. They averaged 7 yards a carry. All right, not to mention that they allowed A.J. Brown to go over 100 yards and a TD. All right, so very poor performance from the Rams in this game here. Eagles did just enough to get this win. Obviously, won comfortably in this game here. They gave up 2 touchdowns. Obviously, that was in comeback fashion for the Rams to get things going. Kyron Williams got into the end zone, and Puka Nacua was able to exploit this Eagles defense, 9 for 117. And that's where they're going to have to try to get success. It's going to have to be in that passing game with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. They have definitely enough wide receiver talent to challenge the Philadelphia Eagles here. All right. But we're looking at some stats here that are key factors that make me lean towards the Philadelphia Eagles. Is going to be rushing yards against per game. As you can see, they're only allowing 104. The Rams are allowing 130. We already know what Saquon Barkley did against that team there. Like I said, over 200 rushing yards. As you can see, rushing yards per game, the Eagles are averaging almost 180. All right. And then the key factor when we're talking about playoff games is time of possession. All right. You control the ball, you control the narrative, you control the game. The Rams are 23rd in the league. The Eagles are top 3 in the league. So if they're dominating with their elite offensive line, with their elite running back, then things do not bode well for the LA Rams. All right. Now, the Rams can keep this game close. I do expect them to keep this game close. So I will be going with the +6 if I had to choose a point spread. All right. But money line, give me Eagles on the money line. Point spread, give me the +6 for Rams, and just respect for McVay and Stafford here to figure out some way to keep this game close, to get this offense going here with their pass catchers in Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. And I like the over in this total, 43.5. I think this can creep over to around that 44, 45. I could even see a 50-point game here between these two, despite the fact how strong this Eagles defense has been. I think Matt Stafford and that offense will push that narrative there and turn things up a little bit to make this game go over 43.5. Now, I know people will remember the Rams defensive line getting towards Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold in that game looked like the New York Jets Sam Darnold, and he was holding on to the ball way too long. I'm telling you, they have totally abandoned the run game as well, the Vikings, and you won't see that here in this game for the Eagles. They will not abandon the run. They're going to utilize Saquon Barkley, and they should exploit this matchup here. So Eagles on the money line. Rams, if you want the value, +6. If you want to bump it up to a +7, that's even greater. And I like the over on 43.5. Last but not least here in Highmark Stadium, Buffalo Bills 13-4, going up against the Baltimore Ravens 12-5. Looking at the current odds for this premier matchup here, Ravens on the money line -120, with the Bills on the comeback at a +100. Point spread is essentially at a pick'em at 1, and the total points at 51.5. Public bet percentage here, 50% of the bets on the side of, it's straight down the middle there. And then for the percentage of money, 53% of the money on the side of Baltimore. All right, point spread, 55% of the bets on Buffalo to cover and 54% of the money on Buffalo to cover. So bettors here, sharps and public, are split down the middle on this game. They are absolutely torn between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. For the total points, 54% of the bets towards the over 51.5. And then we have 57% of the money on the under 51.5. So very intriguing here on the total, on the money line, and on the point spread. Absolutely down the middle here between these two teams. This is going to be a very exciting game. Plus, we have the winter factor here. We have snow. We have the weather below 10 degrees as well. It's going to be a phenomenal game, a snow game in the playoffs with the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. It's not an advantage. I know people are like, the Buffalo Bills is a snow game, it's their event, but Baltimore plays just as cold as weather. They play in the AFC North. What are you talking about here? They face the Steelers in the cold, in the snow. They face the Browns in the cold, in the snow. There's no advantage, all right? There's no advantage. I'll tell you what advantage is, and we're going to talk about that very, very soon. Looking at the injury report here, Baltimore Ravens, Zay Flowers will be out of this game here. Obviously, the knee injury in the first one. The week 18, the knee injury, and now he's going to be missing 2 games here. All right, so he's going to be missing this one here, going up against the Buffalo Bills. Now, in previous years with no Zay Flowers, the Lamar Jackson before, we would have been concerned, but the Lamar Jackson now, the way he adopted this Todd Monken offense, the way that they spread this football around, they have numerous options here. All right, they have plenty of wide receivers to throw to. Not only they have plenty of tight ends to throw to, with Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, and their rookie Charlie Kohler. All right, they'll utilize the fullbacks. They'll utilize Justice Hill. They'll utilize Keaton Mitchell. All right. This Ravens offense here is so dynamic. And that's why they've been number 2 in the league. All right. Really setting records here with this Ravens offense. All right. Now for the Buffalo Bills injury report, everyone is pretty much fine. We have Ray Davis concussion. He left the game last week there. He's highly questionable for this one. So both teams are fairly healthy. No Zay Flowers for the Ravens and possibly no Ray Davis for the Buffalo Bills. Now, these 2 teams have already faced each other. This was earlier in the season, but this was a very, very embarrassing loss. So obviously you would say that the Buffalo Bills are highly motivated in this spot. All right. The Ravens secondary was elite in this game and limited Josh Allen to only 180 yards and a 32.7 QBR. They really dominated Josh Allen and his Buffalo Bills offense. They didn't allow any running lanes as well. They limited Josh Allen rushing with only 21. They limited James Cook rushing with only 39. And then the Baltimore Ravens on the other side had a bunch of fun. All right. It wasn't pretty with the passing wise, 156 yards, because they didn't need to. They ran the ball down the throats of the Buffalo Bills. And that's the thing. Buffalo Bills defense is very athletic, but they can get bullied. And this was a bully game by the Baltimore Ravens. It was like the SEC Georgia going up against any other SEC scrub here, and it's taking them to town with Derrick Henry, 24 carries, 199 yards, and a touchdown. He had a big run for 87. He had Lamar Jackson comfortable with a rushing touchdown as well, and they didn't even utilize none of their pass catchers. The number 1 receiver was Justice Hill. He had 6 for 78, and he got into the end zone as well. So that should be in the back of the minds there of the Buffalo Bills, and that should be very, very scary for the Bills here, all right? Despite the fact that they are at home, despite the fact that Josh Allen has been playing phenomenal football. Both of these quarterbacks here are MVP candidates, and this game here probably is for the MVP title, all right? What does it come down to? It's going to come down to the trenches. All right. We're talking about snow game. We're talking about footing. We're talking about pressure. We're talking about these offensive lines and defensive line. Who is going to get the most leverage? All right. In these bad conditions. All right. I think, and I'm just going off of what we've seen. And we're going off the better offensive line. I think the Ravens have the better offensive line. I think the Ravens have the better running back. And that's Derrick Henry. There's the reason why they went out and got Derrick Henry in the off season here is to win this type of game. You feed Derrick Henry in this type of environment, and it could be a very long night for the Buffalo Bills. This one here, there's no picking a spread. All right, they picked it right down the middle here. It's one. It's you choose a winner here. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the way this Ravens defense is played for the entirety of the season, the way this Ravens offense has showed up, the fact that I've seen this Ravens team absolutely take the Buffalo Bills to the ledge here and really destroy them has got me on the side of the Ravens. Now, here's some stats here. In rematches here, all right, in rematches, in the same season, it's gone to 42-24 straight up for that previous team that won. All right, 42. The team that already won that first matchup wins 42-24 straight up. And then against the spread, they have been 35-29. There's really not much of a spread here. Now, The key factor here in this game here is that the Ravens not only beat the Buffalo Bills, they beat them by 25 points, all right? Now, in this case, with the rematch, and they've won by over 20 points, the rematch has gone straight up to the previous winner, 10-1, all right? 10-1, and they have gone 7-4 against the spread, all right? 10-1, all right? So there's a lot of odds there against the Buffalo Bills in this spot. And I'm going to go with Lamar. I think this game means more to him. We've already seen phenomenal Josh Allen games. I get it. He hasn't reached yet to get to the Super Bowl. But we already know the background of Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. It's usually poor numbers, lackluster performances. I think that this game means more to him in this spot. And I think the Ravens get this win on the road here. And give me the Ravens on the money line. Obviously, you would take the spread. And for the over-under, I'm going to go with the under 51.5. If you're too scared to choose a winner in this game, I'm going to lean towards the under 51.5, mainly because of obviously slowed down time of possession with the way these two teams were going to run their offense, and the fact that the weather is a major factor in this game here, right? I don't expect the ball being slung up and down this field here. So Ravens on the money line, Ravens to cover, and the under on 51.5. All right. So those are going to be my breakdown here for the divisional round. Let me know in that comment section down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let's hear some of your thoughts on these 4 games. Maybe you have an underdog here in one of these 4 games. I don't. I think these teams are well-deserved and move on to the conference championship. So if you want to sign up for the Patreon and get winning plays, go to that description down below. Click it. Get access. You're getting access to daily bets, future bets, and access to that group chat that goes up 24/7. This is your boy, Chef D. I'll be back very soon, and peace out.